You're watching PEGRI TV, Rhode Island's public access channel.
Good evening, I'm Bill Mulholland, and welcome to Good Sports. Tonight's topic is local umpires who have participated in the Eastern Regional Major League All-Star Tournament in Bristol, Connecticut. My guests are Pawtucket native Terry Mercer, who is a 32-year veteran youth league umpire. Terry began umpiring Darlington American minor league games in 1980 at the age of 14, with the highlight of his career being chosen to umpire in the 2017 Eastern Regionals. Gil Tavares, also a Pawtucket native, began his 30-year umpiring career in 1995 by volunteering for the Darlington American minor league games. Gil has been a certified high school umpire since 2017 and was selected to umpire in the 2019 Eastern Regionals. Welcome to Good Sports, Terry and Gil.
Thank you, Bill.
Good to have you guys here. So what first attracted you to umpiring for the Darlington American Little League? Terry, you're up.
So I finished playing Darlington American. I was playing for the Pawtucket Babe Ruth League, and I was about 14. And some folks from Darlington, some coaches, asked if I'd be interested in getting into umpiring. They actually paid a little bit. I think it paid $6 a game back in 1980, 81 for minor league games on the bases. You learn a little bit about doing it on the bases. Then you would do a game or two behind the plate. With the old balloon chest protector, and it just kind of blossomed from there. I liked it. I think I had a knack for it. I kept getting more and more games, and I'm still doing it now.
Yeah. Well, you were the youngest of the Mercer boys, and you know, in Pawtucket, if you saw the name Mercer, you knew it was synonymous with baseball for the most part, right? So you grew up with it all around you, right?
That's what my brothers tell me. But yeah, I think I mentioned to you I was out playing in the street when I was 8 years old or so, and Mike Reeder, a legendary coach and basketball referee, he was on his route with the electric company, and he came up and he said, "You're going to be playing for me next year when you're playing minor league." So,
okay, so that all started.
Yeah, it wasn't me. It was the last name.
Now, Gil, how about you? What attracted you to umpiring?
Well, my son started playing Little League for Darlington American, or minor league at the time.
And your son's name is?
My son, Brian.
Okay.
They explained to us they didn't have many umpires, or any for that matter, that the Little League coaches would have to do minor league games, and the minor league coaches would have to umpire Little League games.
Oh, okay.
So it was kind of okay, I guess if that's what we're doing, then let's go do it.
So you're not umpiring your own game, though?
No, I was a minor league coach so we would have to do the Little League games.
Oh, I see.
So it was interesting at first because you don't really get a perspective of the game as an umpire, because I was never an umpire. Yeah. But as I started to do it more and more, I'm like, oh, this is pretty, I like it. I
and
like
it wasn't your choice. That's the difference, right?
Yeah, they really strongly suggested that we did it.
Sure.
Because they didn't have many other options at that point.
Yeah.
When you first started. And then once things started rolling, then they started getting more people, and now they had regular umpires, if you would.
All right, so they basically forced you to be an umpire, but 30 years later, here you are also. So what has been the continued attraction for you to go over and start with the volunteering and then move up through the Little League or now into high school?
I would consider myself a baseball person.
Okay.
I like baseball, I watch baseball, so I'm like, well, if this didn't know I'd be here still talking about it 30 years later, but still doing it even as of last night.
It's a good gig,
so
right?
I'm like, yeah, this isn't too bad. I like it. And then the more games, like Terry said, the more games you get, the better you get at it, the more you create your own style, and you just kind of took me over, and that's it.
That's it.
We've been.
Yeah. Now, Terry, what assets do you need to have or acquire to be a good Little League umpire?
Well, you got to love baseball to begin with and have an idea of the rules and why the rules are what they are. Baseball probably has the most rules and very arcane rules, you know, why this isn't played. Even the infield fly. Try to explain that to somebody. You know, it's you've got to know the rules and you got to want to get it right. That's honestly we talk about it all the time. We want to get the call right. You're in charge. You've got to, if you're going to be in charge of the game, you've got to know what you're doing, what you're talking about. You've got to know the arcane rules and the very basic rules, and you've got to be able to keep the game moving because you're the only person standing between it devolving and actually being a good competitive structure.
Yeah. Does it help to be like an alpha male where, you know, you like the authority and you sort of thrive in that type of situation?
I don't know about alpha male, but you certainly can't be shrinking from any controversy or confrontation. It just is ingrained in the job. You know,
you've got that job.
You've got two competing teams, two competing interests, and one is always going to see it differently than the other.
Sure.
So yeah, you can't shrink from dealing with controversy or complaints, but you can't go looking for it either. You know, I just mentioned to Gil, I threw out a high school player for swearing just a couple days ago. It was probably the first player I've thrown out in 3 or 4 years. So you can't go looking for controversy and looking for confrontation, but you can't turn away from it either.
Okay. Gil, you have anything to add with that?
You have to go on the field looking like an umpire, acting like an umpire to be an umpire.
Okay.
So
that's important then, I guess.
I think it is. I mean, our closer clean, our pants are pressed, our shoes are shined. It's as soon as you walk on the field, they know that you're it.
That you're a professional.
But you don't have to be a jerk about it. But they got to know that right now I'm in charge.
Okay.
Or we're in charge.
Yeah. Gil, you brought along some of the vital equipment that each umpire needs in order to call a game. So let's start with the face mask.
Yep.
All right. So tell me about this face mask.
Well, it fits over a regular hat.
Okay. Yeah.
Behind the plate. It's very light in weight.
It is.
It's
absolutely. So how is it different from the when I played Little League baseball back in the '60s? How is this different than the ones that the umpires had at that point in time?
It's made of different quality. It's a lot lighter for us now because of just your head, your neck, and for years I used to wear the Goldie style helmet. So I tried that once, and I'm like, oh wow, I'm staying with that. So it's just easier, fits better, looks better.
Yeah, and I'm looking through it, so I've got a good view of the ball coming in at this point in time, and so not a problem. So I'm thinking, well, so little leaguers go over and pitch between usually 60 miles an hour, unless you're going up into the really all-star games. So I would think that you get a foul pitch in this hit set. It's not like getting it from the major leagues, right? I mean, you don't feel it the same. Right?
They're made very well, so you don't normally feel it. But the difference is, when you're talking about a 60 or 70 mile an hour pitch in Little League, the field is exactly set up for 2/3 the size of a Major League diamond. So it does translate to about a 90, 95 mile an hour fastball in certain instances. And you can even see that, like when we were doing our games on ESPN, they'll give you the conversion. That was 78, the equivalent of 96 or something, something along those lines. So yeah, it can happen. And if it hits someplace that's not protected, I think I actually broke this finger last year in the state championship game. There was a pitcher from Smithfield who they ended up going to
the
Little League World Series, and at Williamsport, this individual pitcher struck out I think 16 batters out of 18 outs. And 2 weeks earlier, the second inning of his first championship game at the States, broke this finger because the catcher got crossed up, didn't catch it, hit it right here, and it's still not quite right. 12 months later, so.
So how'd you finish the game? Did you suck it up and move forward?
I did. It was the second inning. It blew up this big. Gil was there because he had the next game, and it was black, and it blew right up, and the only thing I had to do was reach into my ball bag. I only had one on and reach in with my left hand and throw it back left-handed. But and the next day I got the X-rays.
Okay.
So.
Now, Gil and Terry, how many years? Well, in fact, hold on. I forgot about a couple of things. So, The other ones that you brought in, Gil, so this is a brush. Why did you bring in a brush as a vital equipment?
Technically speaking, it's a plate brush to clean the plate.
Okay.
So you start the game off, you clean the plate, game's ready to go. A player slides in, you have to be able to know the width of the plate for the strike zone. So the plate has to be cleaned sometimes a lot during the game. But
frequently?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fits in our ball bag to
and you have to be aggressive. I see the umpires out
Yeah.
there, and so at other times they're talking to say if the catcher gets hurt or something like they're sweeping off the plate and they're actually giving the catcher a chance to catch their breath.
Yeah,
at some
absolutely.
point, time to breathe maybe. Sometimes.
Absolutely. If they catch a foul ball or a foul tip or something like that, and then it works the other way too. If an umpire happens to get nicked, the catcher will probably walk the ball back out to the pitcher to give the umpire a moment to gather
Baseball
himself.
unwritten rules that we
Little bit
take
of
care of
etiquette.
each other.
All right. And so what is this?
Some people call it a clicker,
Okay.
but technically the technical word is an indicator.
Okay.
Tracks the balls, strikes, and outs, and innings on that case.
All right. So in which hand should I put it in?
Goes in your left hand. It's a
Left
left-hand
hand.
clicker. Yep.
So now I just call a strike,
Yep.
and then I
Click forward. Yep.
move it. I got it.
There you go.
And the ball is here.
Yep.
And it's got the outs, and it's got the innings.
Yep.
Okay.
Pretty simple. Pretty just to keep us. So when the count comes, you know what it is. Someone asks you what the count is, you have to know.
Yeah. Okay. I can
So
see
it's
why
just-
they called it the clicker.
Yeah, exactly.
It does.
I'm hearing these clicks.
Click,
and
click, that's
okay.
it. But you'll hear it during
Yeah.
the game. You get.
Yeah, you
And
can
I
definitely
notch
hear it.
out the top, so where my fingers sit, I know that's 0.
Okay. Yep. Cool. All right. And cups. All right. So, do you wear a cup? An athletic support cup? Terry?
I do. I didn't at first, but I do now.
You had an experience, I take it?
I had an experience long ago in Donaldson American on the Ruthowski field. I had gone out to give, there was a pitching change, and after the last warm-up pitch, it happened to go to the backstop, and I was telling the young pitcher the count and the circumstances before I went back to play. And as I turned, the catcher had thrown it back. Luckily, he lobbed it, but he lobbed it right at me and caught me in an unfortunate area, and I went right down on the dirt mound.
Yeah. How
And
about you?
I've won one since.
Yeah. Do you?
When I first started, I didn't wear half the equipment that I wear now.
Okay.
But that one time when you get hit close,
Yeah.
that's the next day that you're going to the place to buy a better mask or better shin guards
Yeah.
or a cup or anything else. And
Just to protect
just,
you.
Just because you get hit there, and as Terry knows, the older the kids, the bigger the kids, the longer it hurts.
Yeah, that was just a minor league catcher throwing it back. If it were a high school catcher,
Different.
it's a whole different
Oh, yeah,
story. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Gil and Terry, how many years did it take each of you to move past the local Little League games and onto the Rhode Island Major Little League All-Stars? Terry, Gil, you're up this time.
I would say probably 10 years for me, something like that.
So you needed that
Just-
experience, right?
Just to be involved in some of those high pressure games, or it takes a while to feel it. You know what I mean? Or if someone's evaluating you, the older guys than me, or the guys who've been around long, they kind of give you helping hints, and then as you go, you just get better. The more games you get better.
Terry?
Probably 6 or 7 years originally, and I ended up about 1993 or so. I stopped umpiring for a while. I was working nights, and it just wasn't working so much. I took about 10 years off. Then when I got back into it, I think within about two years or so, I was being assigned All-Star games, and eventually, probably the third year, consistently doing the state Final Four.
So that's a nice ladder for you guys. So you actually start getting recognized to go over and move on to that next experience. But much like minor league baseball to major league baseball, is it a different game? Faster and better athletes and
The All-Stars are just that. They're All-Stars, so they're better athletes. The pitchers are generally better, more accurate, fewer walks, more aggressive hitters, and the catchers are. It's not in like the regular season where you can easily steal a base. It's a whole different story when it comes to All-Stars. And then when you get to the district finals, and then there are 4 districts in Rhode Island, so the Final Four, the state championship series is the 4 district finalists.
Yeah, top of the line, right?
The
And
top
yeah.
kids. Yep.
Yeah. Bill?
It's like a coach in the beginning of the season. They don't know who their catcher really is going to be, or who their first baseman is going to be. So as April, May turns, then they realize that the catchers, this kid can catch, now he's going to catch. So as the season goes on, it gets a little easier, but the higher levels, it's just, I feel it much easier to umpire because it's
More fun, I would think, too,
pretty cut and
right?
dry, some of them.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes in the younger age groups, you're not exactly sure where they're going to go with the ball. You know, if it's hit to the shortstop, you're anticipating baseball dictates that the ball is going to go to second base or catch the lead runner at third base or something like that, and they just may do something different. But doing high school games, doing all-star games, they're the better players, the better athletes, better coached, and it's a little easier to do. You know, you can sense where you need to be in the right position to make a particular call.
All right. Now, Terry, so who decides whether or not you're assigned to a postseason tournament in Rhode Island?
So it starts with the districts, and we umpire in Pawtucket, which is in District 2. So the District 2 umpire-in-chief will assign the games.
Who is that now?
His name is Mike Kennedy.
Okay.
He's also a Pawtucket umpire, an excellent umpire.
Oh, good.
And he did the Eastern Regionals in 2015, 2 years before me, and I did it 2 years before Gil. But it's the district administrator and the state administrator who recommend to Little League Baseball in Williamsport who might be a good quality candidate for doing regionals.
All right. So, Gil, talk about your experiences in Rhode Island Major Little League All-Star Games and how it prepared you for the Eastern Regionals, and then we'll go to you the next time there. Okay.
Well, and from doing a lot of games during the season, like you said, Mike evaluates us and he recommends us. The more games you have, the better you are, and then you end up being selected for that, which is kind of an honor for us.
Sure.
And then it just amps everything up because now it's All-Stars or it's the state finals, knowing that that's what we all want to be. We all want to be World Series umpires, right? If that's what you're in it for.
Sure.
So just climbing that ladder, knocking off those boxes that you do that we all look forward to.
So when Mike Kennedy evaluates you, is it a matter of constructive criticism also and positive reinforcement? Says, Gil, you know that on that fourth inning and that call here, you were a little out of position, or is that what he does for you?
Yeah, he would say that maybe you should have turned this way, or maybe just little things that help trigger your game to be better, and that's what we're all about: getting it right, getting better.
And Terry, how about you?
I think that's it. It's about getting better. If you're doing an all-star game, those kids have worked hard to get there. They practice twice a day probably. When they get to the state finals or the Eastern Regionals or the World Series for that matter, if they're going to be giving it their all, you need to give it your all. And that starts with walking on the field like an umpire. You look like an umpire, you act like an umpire, you keep your cool, and you try to get every single call right. And we'll continually say, we work a lot of games together, sometimes doubleheaders, so we'll switch off between plate and base.
Little League games, unless it's major or all-star tournaments, it's just a behind the plate and on the bases, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, but we'll say to each other, I don't think you missed a call on the plate today, because we're out in the field, you can see it.
Yeah.
And then they might say, geez, I thought I might have missed that call in the second inning. I called it a ball, or should have been a strike or whatever. But if you can walk off the field knowing that after a couple hundred pitches that you've pretty much gotten everyone right, you feel good about the effort you gave.
Yeah. And so when both of you are working together, Gil, so in between innings, how frequently will you get together and say something, or you stay behind the plate and you stay on the bases? How often does that work?
In most cases, we show up early.
Yes.
And we'll go over the things that we need, the positioning, reminding each other where I'm going to be, where you're going to be. And once the game starts, if I'm doing the plate, I stay near the plate. Terry will stay near the bases. Just it's not about chatting together during the game. We don't talk to each other in most cases at all during the game.
Unless there was a certain instance. So,
in most cases, no, because we don't want them to think now we're thinking about what we just made a call on.
Okay.
That's the call we made. Unless we have to get together, to make sure that we have the right rule,
Yeah.
then we will. But
All right. So you're behind the plate. You're on the bases. You make a call. Gil knows you missed it. So tell me what you do, Gil. So you call me out.
I don't think that's happened yet, Bill.
Oh, is that right?
No, but me missing a call.
but
so I think-
there's things that.
No, but has it ever happened?
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
A lot.
So, okay,
lot.
Terry calls me out. You clearly see that, well, you see that I'm not out. What do you do?
I wait. If the coach wants to question that call, I can go to Terry. We'll get together and say, Terry, I'll say to Terry, what do you have? And let him tell me what he has. And I'll say, well, I think maybe his foot was off the base, or maybe it was, but if you're 100% sure on your call, then we're sticking with it. If that's the call that we're going to stand, that's what we're going to stand. But we don't, if we see something that we made a mistake on amongst our own selves,
Yes?
we don't say anything until the coach will bring it up and ask, can you ask for help?
All right. And so after the game, when you guys are walking back to your car, will you go over and say, hey, Terry, on that second inning at the first base call?
I think his foot was off the bag, yes.
Yep, okay.
That was
and that's a good example. The plate umpire is looking up the first base line.
Right.
The depending on what size field and what age group, the umpire might be behind first base, might be behind the second baseman, might be on the infield as you're more likely to see, right? And you may not be able to see if the first baseman's foot just came off a little bit. Looking straight up the line, Gil could absolutely see that. I may have it that the throw beat the runner, right? But I might not be able to see a little gap between his foot and the base. If the coach comes out and wants to discuss it or challenge it, so to speak, he would go to Gil first because I'm out in the field, and he'd say, okay, you can go talk to Terry. He'd come out, and I'll say, I'll see if my partner had a different look.
Okay.
If I'm certain I got it right, if that's not one of those issues, I'll tell him, look, I know I got it right.
And then Gil will just walk away.
And if we want to get it right. So if Gil comes to me and says, there was some daylight there between the foot and the bag, we'll reverse the call because it's not about being right, it's about getting it right. So
Okay. And when that happens, the coach that you reverse the call on, normally he's going to come out and question you.
he very well might.
He or she, yes, would probably be upset with us.
And you're going to give him a little slack that he's a little excited about it, right? But at what point in time do you go over and say, for lack of a better, you need to back off now? So how do you do that? How do you do that, Gil?
You go and explain yourself.
Yeah.
This is what we have. This is what I saw. In my opinion, this happened. Unfortunately, that's the right call. So, in so many terms, that's it. All sales
go back
final.
to the bench, right?
Yeah, and the same outcome can be if we did not change the call, the person who was originally questioning it is still not going to be satisfied.
Exactly.
And to answer that question about what do you do, where do you draw the line, it's case by case.
And
it
that's
depends
having
on
confidence in yourself to understand and interpret the rule or rules to tell this person, whether the coach is older or younger than you, that this is what we have, and you do it in a nice professional manner, that this is it. This is what we came up with, this is our solution, and you're going to have to live with it.
And the better control you have of a game, the less likelihood somebody's going to cross the line. Like I said, it was 3 years or so since I've thrown somebody out of a game.
Yeah.
It's not a regular occurrence if you control the game right and you're making good, accurate calls.
All right, so Terry and Gil, let's take a deep dive into the Eastern Regional Major Little League All-Star Tournament in Bristol, Connecticut, that both of you had the honor, it is an honor, isn't it?
It is.
To umpire. So tell us about being notified for the Eastern Regionals. Terry, how did that happen with you?
I got a letter. I didn't know I was in consideration. I got a letter in the mail in February or March. It said Little League Baseball headquarters, Williamsport, Pennsylvania. And I opened it, and the first sentence is like college application. We're pleased to inform you that you've been selected to umpire at the Eastern Regionals in Bristol, Connecticut. And
yeah.
You
said, like, what the hell is this? How did they get my name? Is that right?
I did.
Okay.
I knew Mike had gone there 2 years earlier, Mike Kennedy, and I assumed that he, as the district umpire in chief and the state director, must have put my name in.
But I was surprised. My wife was sitting next to me. One of my daughters was there, and it was a surprise, but an honor.
Sure.
And they tell you that, be here this week of August in 2017. Gil has a little bit different experience because the year after that, they actually had they required the umpires to come down
A 3-day weekend.
a few weeks earlier for get to know you, and this is how it works and all the rest. But I didn't have to go through that same thing,
Right.
but Gil did.
Gil, what was? How were you notified?
Again, same thing as Terry. Just I applied.
Oh, so you applied as opposed to okay, and that's the other way of
Yeah,
getting
it's changed
it, right?
a bit since.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I was hoping for it.
Yeah.
Didn't expect it. I go get the mail. I was like, oh, it's a letter from Williamsport. Oh my, read it. Like Terry said, same exact format. Congratulations, and it's cool. It's cool to be and at that time I was the only Rhode Island representative to go that weekend.
Oh, okay.
And then we went in May for a quick training on how they wanted things done, and go over the replay rules and the time slots and all that stuff. And then we went back in August for the actual tournament.
All right, so that was going to be my next question, Gil, because
Mm-hmm.
I did know that Terry did not participate in that 3-day weekend there. So what did you learn that you did not know prior to that 3-day weekend to prepare you for the 2019 Eastern Regional Little League All-Star Games?
Well, it's baseball. I mean, out strikes, fair foul. It's pretty easy, right?
Yeah.
Balls and strikes, it's what it is. But how they want you to do it.
Okay.
Everybody, if you watch a Major League Baseball game, every umpire has their own style. How you call a pitch. Like I always pointed strike. And most of the time when you point, you look. They don't want you to look because they don't want you to take your head away from the field. But they want you to put your hand up as the hammer, they call it.
Okay.
That's how Little League Baseball wants you to do it, especially when, as the week went on, ESPN showed up, and ESPN wants it very formal, very, very square, very their way,
All right.
So
well, they got that
learning a
camera
bit,
shot that's important, I would
right.
think, right?
just a little bit of a change of how you do things.
Yeah.
It was tough because I can tell you, I went to that training and I felt personally I was the worst of the umpires there. But trying to change my style was what got me.
So you only have a couple of weeks. So how did that affect? That was going to be one of my other questions, but we'll get into it right now. How did that affect how you made a call? Were you thinking, "Oh, I've got to do it this way as opposed to this way"?
I was a little bit mixed up for a while.
So tell me how that was. Now it's the actual time. It's showtime. It's the big time, right? Something you've been looking for the entire umpiring career. So
From that weekend
how
in
did
May,
you handle it? Yeah.
From that weekend in May, the next game I came home, I started doing it this way, the way they wanted us to do it. Trying to get my muscle memory to go this way rather
Good
than
word.
pointing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's so automatic and the things that you do,
Sure.
how you hold your hands up, how you do the count, it's all how they want it. So I had to practice that because when I went back in August, I didn't want to be doing the wrong thing, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And so but now I'm back to
Second
pointing
nature,
again. but that's just what we do now. But
Yeah.
but going back there, knowing I had to do it their way, and that's what they wanted, so that's what we gave them.
Yeah. So with you, Terry, so you didn't have that 3-day weekend preparation.
Correct.
You showed up for the tournament, and did they give you the same thing that they gave to to Gil?
To a certain extent. So we were there a day early, and we had a full day of. It was less about the hammer. It was less about that, honestly, but more about positioning and uniformity. You know,
Okay.
this is the biggest thing that's going to happen to these kids playing in the tournament. Number one, it's going to be on television, on ESPN, and when it's on ESPN, it's the only thing on ESPN, right? So there's a lot of people watching. They want to make sure that the umpires are all working as a cohesive unit. But they weren't as big at that time on the hammer versus a pointing, and it's kind of interesting because in my crew there were two folks from Rhode Island, myself and Chris Colbert, and our action was to call a strike with a point, and we knew they kind of frowned upon that a little bit. So there are 6 umpires in the crew and 6 rotations, right? So when I happened to start in the third base rotation. I was the last person to get a plate game, and when I
got the assignment, I called Mike Kennedy because he had been there 2 years earlier,
Sure.
and I said, "And they got me doing a plate game last. Is that any indication?" He said, "No, it's just random."
Okay.
So I did my first plate game in the round robin part of the tournament, and I think I had a pretty good game, but I was pointing, and afterwards, when it gets into the elimination rounds of the tournament, they don't go by a rotation. It's by merit, who goes where. And I just didn't expect I would get a second plate game. The most you can get is 2. Yeah. I didn't think I would get a second plate game, but I got the regional semifinal on a Friday night on ESPN behind the plate, despite pointing, because I had a good first game calling balls and strikes and running the game.
Sure. Now, Terry, describe for our Good Sports audience the facilities at the Eastern Regional site in Bristol, Connecticut.
If you're a 12-year-old kid, it's probably Shangri-La. You know, they're living in dorms. It's only the coaches and the players, no family, no anything else. They've got
so
arcade
talk about
games.
fields. What type of fields? So you've got 12 teams. How many teams? 8 teams, right?
So the Eastern Regionals consists of 2 different regional tournaments. The New England, it's changed now, but the New England when we were there, and the Mid-Atlantic. And they selected 6 umpires who were from New England states and 6 umpires from the Mid-Atlantic states. And then when you got there, your 6-man crew worked the opposite tournament. So I worked the entire Mid-Atlantic tournament.
But how many teams were there?
There were 6 teams from 6 different states. Yeah.
But there were
12 teams.
12
Six,
teams. Yeah, there were 12 teams, right?
Right. Six from each. So the 6 New England states were represented, and then the 6 what they call the Mid-Atlantic states, Delaware.
So there's 12 teams. How many fields are there? We see the green, all the time.
Yes.
So when they're showing that, but how many other fields are there for practice fields or whatever else? What do they have for facilities?
That's where the games are played. There are 2.
There was 2 other fields.
2 other fields beyond the right field area.
And batting cages.
And batting cages and things of that nature. So that's where, if they want to practice, that's where they practice. The green field is solely for games.
For all the games. So there's not 2 games going on at the same time?
Nope.
Okay.
They start in the morning, and they go through, I think the last game starts at 7 o'clock at night.
All right. Talk about lodging. What do they have there?
For the students, for the players,
Yes.
it's right on campus. For umpires, there's an umpire room where we leave our equipment and our clothes and stuff like that, and we debrief after games and we talk about before the games. But we stay in a hotel down the road.
Okay. How about eats?
We eat the same food the players do.
And
Right
they have
on
a cafeteria?
campus. There's a cafeteria, and they do a pretty good job with the food. And they've got ice cream Sunday station because that's what kids like.
Sure.
And so do umpires.
Okay. Yeah. So what do you receive as far as, so you go over, you have that one day, and you do too, that one day orientation, right? So they go over the rules, like you said, so forth and so on, because it's a little different because it's TV. What do they give you? So you come with your full regalia as far as an umpire, but what do they give you as far as a uniform?
So you bring your own umpire pants, heather gray or charcoal gray umpire pants, and your equipment, your belt and your shoes, and then they supply you with a couple shirts, umpire shirts, kind of like this, and a hat with the regional logo on it, and that's pretty much it. They do have a laundry service there, so it's August in Bristol, Connecticut, and sometimes it's really hot. But you could just leave it, and they'll take care of it, and press it, and make it nice for the next morning.
Good. Yep. Anything else you want to add to that as far as the facilities, and give us sort of an inside behind the curtain look at it? What else?
The year that we went, the weekend training, we stayed in the dorms where the kids stay.
Oh.
On bunk beds.
Okay.
It was pretty cool. I ended up staying in the Rhode Island room. Each state has their own bunkhouse, I guess it would be.
Sure.
So I stayed in the Rhode Island room, stayed there the whole weekend on campus, lunch, classroom work, field work, and like Terry said, you bring all your stuff, all your equipment. Sometimes we're out in the field making sure we look right, we're in position right, the angles are right. So,
Okay.
but other than that, same thing once we came in August, kids stayed in the dorms, we stayed in the hotel.
All right. And I know you touched a little bit on this, Terry, but I'm going to ask you anyways. So, how many umpires are at the Eastern Regionals, right? From how many states, and how are they assigned games? So, go into that whole scenario.
So there are 6 umpires for each region.
Okay.
And that's because they have all 6 stationed out there, just like in the Major League World Series. You've got the right field and left field line, each of the 4 bases. So
Yes.
there's 6 in a crew. My crew was all from New England, but there happened to be two from Rhode Island, 1 from Connecticut, 1 from Maine, and 2 from Massachusetts. So that was our 6. There was nobody from Vermont or New Hampshire. Just kind of worked out that way. We get there and we know we're assigned. We are only working Mid-Atlantic games. So there's no chance that I'm going to do a Rhode Island game or the Massachusetts guy is going to do a Massachusetts game.
That makes sense. Okay, that's fair.
And there's no problem with it whatsoever.
Right.
And I think the very first day, so there's 2 games per region each day, starting on Monday.
So there's 4 games.
There's 4 games on Monday,
and
Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then they start to
Mhm.
whittle it down to getting to the semifinals and then the finals.
Okay.
So that very first day, I was assigned on third base, and unlike the rotation for Major League World Series, it went third base, left field, right field, first base, second, and then home.
Okay.
They explain it that they like to have the second base umpire coming to the home plate for the next game because he gets a good angle for the whole game of what's going on.
Does that make sense for you?
It does. It
Okay.
does.
All right.
So starting out on third base, I was the last person to do a plate game. And again,
But that's what you want, right? For all the umpires, do you want to be the home plate guy for the important game? Is that the prestige place?
Yes.
I would
That's
think,
what I want.
right?
Yes,
Because you're in the game from the moment it starts to the moment it ends. Well, the other ones are, but you're in front of the action all the time, just like a pitcher and catcher, right?
Yeah, and you're being evaluated on every single pitch. There are 3 seasoned umpires who have done a number of World Series games right over here behind the backstop. They're at the scorer's table.
Yeah.
And they're watching every single thing each of the 6 umpires does, but they're specifically focused on the home plate. And since it's televised, there's a recording of it, and they can go back and look and see how many pitches you might have missed on the edges or at the knees or something along those lines. So for those seasoned guys to say, this is the guy we want behind the plate tomorrow, it's fulfilling.
All right, so something you have never experienced before, for the very first time, is instant replay, right? Because it's on TV. Are all the games on instant replay, or is it just the semifinal and championship games?
All of them.
All of them.
Yes.
All right. So I want both of your experiences with replays. So tell me, what do they tell you in the orientation about the replays? Because the only one who can actually access it would be the home plate umpire. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the home plate umpire goes to the backstop. There's an opening in the backstop, and
Yes.
it actually drops down.
Yeah, we've got a picture
And
of that.
you put on the headset, and they say, "What is the question? What are they questioning? Whether he beat the throw, whether he missed first base on his way to second base, whatever the case may be. You articulate that to the replay booth.
All right, and the replay is only based upon what you had heard earlier, a challenge by the
other
by
coaches.
the coaches,
Right.
right? So you don't go over and say, well, you don't decide whether it's a
No,
replay.
never. Just
Dictated
like
by them.
how we do it ourselves during the regular season. Same thing here. It has to be initiated by a coach.
Okay, all right, continue.
So we had a handful of challenges as I made my way around in the first couple of days, and we were 6 for 6, I think, on challenges being upheld. And I was on first base. The first time the top of the first, I had a bang play at first base. I believe I called him out, and I didn't think it was even much of a question, but they came out and it was the very first call I made at first base, top of the first inning, and they challenged it, and I'm talking to the right field umpire while we're waiting, and they play the Jeopardy song sometimes, while they're waiting.
Yeah.
And, you're kind of waiting. Did I miss that one? So that was upheld. And don't you know, the very first pitch in the bottom of the first inning was another bang play where I called him safe, and that was upheld. So it's fulfilling, but it's nerve-wracking. I mean, everybody who's watching ESPN at that minute on the globe is watching this, and they thought Terry missed that one.
Yeah, absolutely. So how do you know? So now, if you're the home plate umpire, let's say, Gil, you're the home plate umpire. There's Terry had that call at first. So it comes back out. They tell you that they got it right. So show me what you do.
So they want you to put it's like a whole formatted thing. Put your mask under your left arm, put the headset on, and then they ask you, Gil, what do you got? The coach is asking for a replay because the first baseman's foot came off the bag, or safe, or whatever the call was, like Terry said. So then now they'll start talking to each other, and you can hear this whole conversation. They'll go camera to camera to camera, trying to find out who has the better angle.
Okay.
And then whoever it is up there, whoever it is, the lead would say, all right, Gil, we have safe at first base. You got to take the headset off, go back to the plate, wait a second, wait for the camera to hit on you, and point to the base and point safe or out, whatever the call was. Because it's just not staged, but it's how they want it.
Yeah, choreographed.
It's choreographed.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the word.
Right.
Yeah.
Good word.
And how about instant replay with you? Your first experience there, Gil.
There was a play at second base. I can't remember if it was out or safe. Again, going to the headset, doing the whole thing. And now you know, whatever the call was, safe or out, you have to go back and you know you're going to be on TV now. So you know you got to make sure you do it right. You know what I mean? And you got to look confident in yourself and your hands out, like the whole thing. It's nerve-wracking at first, but then it's just baseball.
Sure.
It's just that one little extra step that we don't get to do during the regular season that it makes it better. Because now it's on ESPN. Like Terry said, everybody in the world is watching you.
Yeah. And they don't have, like they have in pro football and or baseball and basketball, the screen up there showing the replays and the rest, right? That's not
we
there
don't just
yet.
No, yet.
Fortunately.
We get the word from someone else to tell us what they got.
All right. So Gil and Terry, talk about your game day experiences leading up to the tournament semifinals. You're up this time there, Gil.
All right. So every night at the end of the games, all the umpires would go back to the umpire room and we'd find out what our assignment was for the next day. As the week went on, everybody knows it's getting time, you know. So the last night, the Friday night going in, we all met again to find out who had the championship game and what positions we were at.
Yeah.
So the instructors were all waiting for us. They all knew we were all coming. And when they told me I had it, I was like, wow, that's surprising. It was nerve-wracking right from that Friday night, knowing I wasn't umpiring until Saturday night.
Yeah.
So my daughter Ashley, my son-in-law Dan, and my grandson actually spent the week with us. So I couldn't wait to tell them that we had it the next day. Went back to the hotel, had dinner together, and went to bed. You know, the next day I woke up. The hotel was probably 15, 20 minutes away. So I knew the game was at 7 o'clock on a Saturday night. Like Terry said, everybody in the world's watching you. I left the hotel, again, 20 minutes away. I left the hotel at 1 o'clock in the afternoon to get to the game, to get to the complex. I was the only person at the complex, but I had to be there on time.
Okay.
Although 6 hours on time was on time, but I just had to be there, checking my stuff to make sure everything was tidy and clean and just ready to roll at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So it was quite the
So
experience.
what did you do for the next 5 hours?
Paste.
Except just twiddle your fingers and
It was
just
like
sweat like
just
anything,
waiting for your
huh?
first child to be born, just pacing up and down the walkways, and it was very nerve-wracking.
Okay.
But again, from these guys who have been there, to say it's just a game, this is what you've earned this spot. Take it.
Yeah, you just have to get
Yeah,
past
just
that
get past that
nervousness, right?
first. Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Terry? Anything interesting leading up to the semis?
So I'm on the city council in Pawtucket, and I was going to be driving home for a
My
meeting and then
condolences.
back down. I'll tell me about it. And then driving back down. So it was late afternoon on a Wednesday, and one of the head umpires was doing something in the umpire room, and I was about to leave, and he said, "What do you have back in Rhode Island? Do you have Cox? Do you have Verizon? Do you have Dish?" And I said, "Well, I have cable." He said, "Do you have a DVR?" And I said, "I do." And he said, "You might want to have somebody record Friday night's game." Mm-hmm. He didn't tell me what it was, but I understood that to mean I got the semifinal game behind the plate.
Sure.
So as I'm driving back to Pawtucket for the meeting, I called my wife and I said, make sure the DVR is working.
I'm not coming home, right?
7 o'clock Friday night, make sure you're ready to. She actually had a few people over for like a viewing party and watched it. But, it's like this. You get mic'd up. The only person mic'd up is the plate umpire. You know that it's not streaming on ESPN, that it's on ESPN. And ESPN flagship is whatever's on ESPN right this minute is on ESPN at every television set in the world.
Right.
So you know that there might not be everybody watching it, but anybody who's watching ESPN is watching that game. So there's a bit of nerves there at first.
Especially
and
knowing
there's
that
instant replay.
those games, those kids are going to Little League World Series next.
Right.
Right. Yes.
Because on us, pretty much.
You don't want to.
You're not going, but they are.
You don't want to be why they're not
one of those
going.
teams is going, and the one that earns it
And the other
should be the
one's
one that
going
goes,
home.
and it doesn't. You don't want it to turn on your call.
Sure. So, Terry and Gil, after the double elimination games are completed, you're evaluated on your performances, and then 6 umpires go home, and then 6 stay for the semifinal championship contest. So, describe that evaluation that you had, Terry, and then you'll be up next.
So the 6 all stay. The 12 umpires stay.
Oh, they do?
Because again, my crew of 6 is doing just this tournament. That crew of 6 is doing just the Mid-Atlantic guys are doing the New England tournament. So my 6 guys did every single game in the Mid-Atlantic tournament. Nobody goes home. It's just where you're assigned.
Oh, okay, I got it.
So I got the.
So what's the evaluation about then?
The evaluation is done by the head umpires that are there among themselves.
Yeah.
We get feedback after each game, but as far as the evaluation of geez, we're gonna put you here because we want to try to hide you. We don't see the nitty gritty of that.
Okay.
But they do evaluate you and they say, okay.
Is it a one-on-one evaluation, or is it with all 6?
They don't. So after each game, we have almost a debriefing. Here's a few of the plays that maybe somebody could have done something a little bit differently. Hey, great call on that particular, whatever the case may be. But as far as evaluating for going forward, it's not with us. It's among just the head umpires who are doing the evaluation. They'll talk among each other and say, hey, that guy from Rhode Island, we should put him on the plate, or that guy from Rhode Island should be not even in right field. It depends on what the case may be.
Okay.
And as it turns out, the other guy from Rhode Island, the next night after me, was on the plate for.
That's quite a compliment for Rhode Island umpires.
It is, and both of us, we go back to the pointing, but both of us were pointers.
Yeah.
And they looked past that and said these 2 guys did the best ball strike calls. And they weren't going to give me a second one on Saturday. So I was told that I was the best ball strike during the first 6 games, and that's why they put me on Friday night. But they wouldn't put me again on Saturday. So Chris did a great job in his game, Chris Colbert.
How about you there, Gil?
It's a little bit different for us, I guess. Just the things that are evolving is they took us in our umpire room, the 6 or 7 instructors that we had, and they did a one-on-one, asking us first how we thought we did. So I went in there pretty confident in myself, thinking I think I had a good week. And the first thing Doc said to us is he had he had a sheet in front of him, and I'm looking around and I'm like, this doesn't look good. This doesn't seem right for me. I had a really bad vibe. And he said, did you ever consider girls softball?
How deflating is that?
Devastated, thinking, like I said, I'm walking in this room thinking I did okay.
Not that girls softball is any less than Little League,
but
of
thinking
course.
Well, I knew Terry and I knew Mike both had semifinal games, and I wanted at least a semifinal game to match them.
Sure.
Or better them. But I wanted to match them.
So what happened?
And he said, Gil, I think you got the wrong impression of this. We need good umpires to do girls softball. But we think you did excellent. And they gave me my evaluation sheet, and I got all good scores, knowing that's a good start. And then that's how I got the championship game.
Yeah. So they give you a sheet that evaluates you on 1 through 5
your appearance,
or 4 or whatever else.
Yeah.
And so what constructive criticism did they have, if any, to you, saying you need to just tweak this little part of as far as evaluation for the big time?
For mine, it was a lot of footwork. just move a little bit this way or a little bit that way. If you move a little bit to the left, you can see the plate better. Or you have to, take your steps, stop, and then make a call. You can't have your feet moving at the same time as you're making a call, which it's very little things that a lot of our coaches, baseball, little league, junior league, senior league, AAU, high school, don't even notice it, but we notice it as umpires.
Yes.
Just a matter of one more step or two more steps puts you in a better spot.
Now, Terry, as you said, you were behind the plate for the 2017 Mid-Atlantic semifinal game, televised, as you said, around the world on ESPN's network channel. Let us live vicariously through you as you walk us through prior to the game, game day, and post-game.
So the umpire room is maybe 100 yards or so, and again, it's kind of regimented, choreographed. We walk by position, so the plate umpire is the first in line, and we walk down. You get behind the backstop, and if you're the plate umpire, they mic you up and a little pat on the back. It's exhilarating, but it is a little bit nerve-wracking. Just like the first replay was nerve-wracking.
So you walked in. You were first to walk in
Right.
the field because you had behind the plate.
And your mask under your left arm.
Okay.
You'll walk
Almost
down.
like the military, right?
Yeah. But it is for a
formality.
reason.
Yeah.
The families who are there understand that these guys who are unpaid umpires, volunteer umpires,
I'm glad you mentioned that.
are
yeah.
down there doing their best, and as professional as they can make it appear, it gives the perception out there. So you have a little bit of butterflies in your stomach, but again, after the first pitch.
All right, so that's all the pregame, and then they tell you, does the director go over and point to you saying, okay, this is the start of the game?
You go out and you have a plate meeting just like you do with every single baseball game that we do. Both coaches come out. In some leagues they hand you the lineup card like they do in major leagues. Not the case here because they do it the scorebook up in the press box. But they come out and you kind of give them they've already played 4 or 5 games here, so they know the ground rules and it's pretty tight. And you just talk to them about a couple things. Remind your players they got to keep one foot in the box or whatever. But I actually said, congratulations on getting here. We're going to do our best. Listen, it's not rocket science, but the guy from Connecticut, one of my crewmates, was actually a rocket scientist with Raytheon, and he said, I can attest to that. He said, and then it's in my hands.
Okay.
The rest of the umpires, it's now in my hands.
Showtime, right?
Right.
Okay,
And,
so
we were going to start tonight's thing by saying play ball. That's exactly it. You get behind. You make sure all your umpires are in. Your crewmates are where they're supposed to be.
now you've seen this team play because you've been
Yes.
through all those games, so that's helpful, right?
Yes.
You've seen this pitcher pitch.
Yes.
Okay, and so tell me game day.
So you get up there, you play ball, and the first pitch is usually in a Little League All-Star game. The first pitch is usually a bullet right down the middle, and it was.
Okay.
Called it a strike, and now you just you get a little bit of a relaxed feeling. As it turns out, my game was a 10-run Mercy rule, so it only went 4 innings, I think, instead of 6 if it had been a closer game.
Yeah.
And then you breathe a sigh of relief. You feel you've done the best job you can, and you get off the field. And in today's day and age, you have 30 or 40 text messages from people who have seen it. I know a guy I've known all my life. He used to be an umpire, and he was in another room, and his wife said, "Hey, Terry Mercer's on television." So he came in, so he had texted me, "Hey, great job," and college roommates and stuff. So, and I think Gil had
Former umpires.
Gil had a zillion text messages afterwards. So, and you had the debriefing. They told you did a great job. Okay.
Now, Gil, you were behind the plate for the 2019 Mid-Atlantic Championship game. Win or go home, as far as Little League is concerned. And so let us live vicariously through you. Again, the same thing, prior to the game, game day, and post-game.
Same thing as Terry. I got there very early, as I already told you. Make
And
sure
you had
everything's.
anxiety going
Yes,
into
I
that game,
did.
right?
Once it was fine. The plate umpire leads the crew down to the field. It was all right. This is a proud moment. When they put that mic on me, I was like, "Oh my God, I can't breathe. I don't know what's going on." It just all of a sudden it just got to me, and I just couldn't catch my breath at first until I think probably the second inning. When I threw the ball back, I always throw a knuckleball back to the pitcher. I don't know why. It's just something I do. when I did that.
It doesn't knuckle?
Sometimes. I'm glad they're not hitting it back. That's one good thing. But it's fun to do. And my daughter knew I was ready, and it just kind of just went. It just it's what it was.
So any experiences on game day, behind the plate? You're big time now.
Yeah. Just being yourself. Like all the advice I got going in from these
Did
Terry
you
and
have a
Mike.
replay?
I think we had 4 that game.
So you were busy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, there was a couple. I think we went 2-2 that game. We got 2 right and 2 wrong that
Okay.
game. But it's like we've been saying, it's about getting it right. And you just take it if that's what the call that they want. But at the end of the game, it was New York versus New Jersey. New Jersey ended up winning it and going that year. The coach had one more replay, and he wanted his replay. It wasn't even close. But he said, Gilly, I can't leave here with a replay in my pocket. So we went back to replay, just a call.
The challenge, is that what he said to you?
Yes, he said, I got one more. I can't leave with it. I said, okay, let's
want
go.
a little bit more airtime, right?
Yeah. So we went back there, and I told him what we have, and he's like, at the time the score was 19-4.
Another Mercy rule.
Game, and he's
Okay.
like, and the people on the headsets were like, he's up by a lot. Why is he doing this? And I said, that's what he wants. Doesn't want to leave here with his replay in his pocket.
Sure.
And
Okay.
they ended up keeping it, and we went on.
All right, so Terry and Gil, so what are the chances that you could be assigned to the National Little League All-Star Tournament in Williamsport?
You cannot do the Williamsport World Series unless you've done a regional. That's just the hierarchy.
I've done regionals.
And then after having done a regional, you actually are in a database of umpires they could use. I assume there's some sort of evaluation that's assigned to you, some sort of a grading number that's assigned to you somewhere from your experiences on regionals. You can also do other regionals. I haven't since, but Gil did the senior regionals in Maine
Bangor,
a
Maine.
couple years later.
Yep.
So, there's a chance I may get another envelope in the mail that says you've been selected to umpire the World Series. But if you think about how many umpires go through the regionals on each year, and how many umpires, and that's around the world, right?
Right.
So,
Everybody wants that.
and then how many then get utilized in the World Series, which is done on 2 different fields. So it's an exponentially
Big pool.
increasing
Big pool.
pool of potential umpires for still a stagnant number of umpires.
All right, so Gil and Terry, we have 2 minutes remaining in the show. What's your favorite memory from the Eastern Regionals? Gil, you're up.
Just being there, just experiencing the whole thing, something that we all wanted, that we all strive for, and having my family there was cool. So just being there, and then being selected obviously for the championship game is a very important part of it.
And did you DVR it, and do you have it at home?
I watched it probably 15 times since.
Cool.
Just every once in a while, I'll show my grandson, I'll show my other grandson,
Sure.
my granddaughter,
Why would you
my wife
not?
again. She's like rolls her eyes all the time, but
That's
it is
okay.
every once in a while it's good to watch.
And Terry, your favorite memory?
Again, being selected, the camaraderie. I don't think I laughed as much with my crew than I have since college. And I'd say the first two replays being affirmed, and just doing the whole thing. It was a great experience.
Great. Well, Terry and Gil, thank you for sharing your insights and umpiring experiences at the Eastern Regional Major League Little League All-Star Tournament in Bristol, Connecticut. Good job there, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're
Thanks for
very
having
welcome.
us.
My pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Bill Mulholland for Good Sports. Good night.